Howdy doody. It's your boy. It's your pal. We here. It's that time again. A simple RPG. We're making it. We're making it with our bare hands. Bare hands. Rawr. Sweet. So yeah, it's that time. We're making using RPGMaker MV, my engine of choice. We are building an RPG from start to finish, trying to make it as simple as possible, but also sprinkling enough in there that we can learn some interesting things about the engine. We're learning as we go. Thank you, Harlequin, for the follow. Why does it say sub? It's not a sub. I need to fix that. But yes, we are building a simple RPG, and again, I've been thinking about it all day. It's really bad. I get distracted at work. I just stare off into the distance, imagining all the things I'm gonna do. So let's stop looking at my face. Let's look at our beautiful, 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 beautiful baby boy. Where are we? Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Guys, we've done so much. We've done so much already. Okay? And all of this is very placeholder at the moment too. Like, this isn't like officially how I want it to look. This is just us putting things down so, you know, we can learn about how to do this. So one thing I do want to do that I've been thinking about, and this is me because I'm impatient, and this isn't necessarily how you should make your game. I did this with Cow Knight. Currently mapping out the interiors of my desert town, not placeholders. Very nice, Harlequin. Hey, feel free to feel free to drop links again. You can do it every time you come to stream. I don't care. I don't care. Drop a link. I don't know if my bot will Seribot will treat you as spam. I hope not, but yeah. I made it. Keep missing these. Little Big Poker. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming along. But yeah, this isn't how you should make your game, and I don't even know if this is actually an effective way to do it because I haven't seen it from start to finish working this way. But for my Cow Knight RPG, which is one of the first RPGs I really tried to work on, and then the scope got too big, and so I started another project and another project and another project, and like little Russian babushka dolls, like my projects got smaller and smaller and smaller until I finally got to one that I actually made from start to finish, and now I'm working my way back up. From looking at the chat names, looks like people here are the same people on every other RPG. They know who I am. All okay. Yeah, that's right. That's also why I'm like, you can share links. My audience is I love the audience that I have, and I'm grateful for the viewers that I have, but I'm not, you know, it's not a whole lot of exposure that I'm giving you. Not me. That's right. Oh, trailer. Yeah, I guess maybe you weren't there when Harlequin was in the other stream. But what are we saying? Yeah, so this Cow Knight RPG, well, look, I'll show you. I can do that. We have the power, we have the technology. Cow Knight. Cow Knight. So this is my Cow Knight RPG. I have the world map. I have all the locations mapped out. This isn't a world map that you just like freely travel across. You actually like you're stuck at a location, and then as you move, it just, you know, kind of like a Super Mario Brothers world map or something. You know how you can just move between points of interest. So I mapped the whole thing out, and then I made every single location, but just as a placeholder. But I made every single location that I'm gonna have in the game. Let's zoom in. Current games on Steam. Yes. Check it out, trailer. Check it out. You know, so I have every single map, every single location. Like, look at this. Look at this. And I don't even consider this to be a big game, right? But this is going to be my big game. You know, so all the way to the very last area with the last boss, right? It's all mapped out. There are no enemies. Well, there's some enemies in like one area, and they're way too overpowered and will kill you because I haven't properly sorted those out yet. But I made all the locations from start to finish. I made all the events necessary to travel between each map, and I also made it that every story beat of the main quest is in the game. It doesn't mean that they're fully fleshed out cutscenes, but all the basic NPCs that you need to interact with in order to progress the game all the way to the end have been placed. So I did this because I just wanted to see, like, this probably isn't the best way to do this, but this is, the skeleton is there, not a bad approach, right? Yeah, I've made this. That's a good way to put it. Thank you, Harlequin. This is the skeleton of the game. It's got all the points of interest, and you just need to color it in. You know, I've done all the line work, but it just needs the color. It just needs all the full cut scenes, all the, you know, there's placeholder dialogue. You know, so you know, just saying, hey, go from here to here, please, and move on. There are some that for fun I fleshed out a little bit more with a bit more of a cutscene, which was silly, but it was a bit for my sanity as well. But because I'm going to have to go back through and redo it all anyway. But it's all there, so you can play through my game, the main quest, from start to finish. And I did that because I was impatient. I hated. I just wanted to know if the game that I had and the quest points, the markers, if they all made sense, and so I wanted to plot them all out. So you don't have to do this, but you're welcome to. Why is the roof like that? I don't remember doing that. Anyway, yeah. So if I, and so it was just so I could play test it and go, okay, you go here. They tell you to go here. This is where you go next. So on and so forth. I'm probably over explaining this. You probably already get the idea, right? But I kind of want to do that for a simple RPG. Again, because I'm feeling impatient, but I also would prefer, rather than seeing it written on my game design document, I want to see in engine how you can traverse through the game. So we're going to start doing that. And yeah, and so the reason I don't know if this is like the best way to do things is because I haven't completed this project yet. So I don't know actually how much of a problem it's going to be further down the road if I need to change something, you know, if that's going to be easy to do or if it's actually going to be quite difficult because of all the little pieces that I've already put in place. I just did this so he could brag about making an entire game in a day. Yeah. I didn't oh, I don't think I made this in a day. I don't even remember how long this took. But yeah, it's you can play through the whole story and it makes sense. Maybe I'll do a little playthrough on stream one day just for funsies. See if it makes sense. But yeah, but now I've got to go through and actually flesh it all out, and that's going to be the hard part, right? Is actually making this a real game. So I want to do that with a simple RPG, because, you know, I keep thinking about, you know, the idea here is that you're going to go out, you're going to go to the Earth Temple, you're going to walk through, you're going to go through it all, fight the mini boss, fight the real boss, leave one of your party members there, and you're going to get to choose that. And then my idea is that you don't just then move straight onto the water temple. I want it so that you actually return to the hub town, and actually spend some time in the bar as an opportunity for you to talk to your remaining party members, get a little more backstory on them, and then head back out and talk to the king, like, as well, because the king will give you the next thing that you need to go to the water temple, because he's like, well, I won't give you the boat to go to the water temple until you've beaten the earth temple. And so you'll have this thing where you keep coming back to the hub. It's also a good way to get the player to come back and make sure that they're going to the shops and buying new equipment and keeping their equipment up to date. So yeah, so there's lots of reasons, but I don't like it all floating in my head or on a game design document at the moment. I want to see it, the skeleton of it in the game, so that I can see that it works, it makes sense, and is something that's achievable. I mean, it's more visually appealing than having some blurbs on a game design doc for sure. Yeah. Personally, I kind of just do every scene one after another to full polish before I move on. Not the greatest way of doing things, but that's kind of how my brain works. And that's fine. You know, it's definitely whatever works for you. They come back to talk to a horse. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I've been thinking about, because Coco's subbed, so the horse does get a sub quest. And I've been thinking about how that's going to play out, and it's going to progress over the full course of the game. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But there's going to be some twists. There's going to be some twists with our friend the Horse Knight. So I think that's what we're going to start doing, because I think we've built enough here. We've got our shops. We've got the bar. Oh, I mean, okay. Today we are going to finish the well, this will be the start of building the skeleton, right? We're gonna complete the sequence of talking to the king, because so far we've got it that we talk to the king. The king tells us that we need a full party, and then he'll give us his blessing to start tackling the elemental temples. So we need to then go to the bar and have our other party members interactable, and we can talk to them and recruit them, and they'll join our party. And then once we have our full party, we'll be able to leave the bar, go back to the king. He'll say, yep, good job, on your way. And he'll give us an item that we will need to unlock the Earth Temple. And then we'll go to the Earth Temple. I will make it that you can, walk through the 3 floors that it's going to be. There'll be a placeholder boss. You can just interact with the boss and it'll die. Then there will be the sequence where you give up one of your party members, and we go back, and we're gonna map out the whole thing. Yeah, I usually try to make a room look pretty with NPC, but to be honest, it's really slow. So now I'm trying to learn how to test mechanics on only one scene, so everything is not discombobulating. It can get overwhelming really quick, right? Yeah, and you can kind of burn yourself out with it. Whereas I feel like with this skeleton method, you've got the whole thing laid out in front of you, which for some people might be overwhelming and intimidating, because then you can actually see, oh, this is everything that I need to work on and polish and make good. But at the same time too, it's like, well, I know today I'm just going to tackle this one map. That's all I'm going to work on today. And I might not even finish it, but that's what I'm going to work on. And then you do that, and you step away, and you come back and you go, all right, well, now today we're working on this map. I couldn't even do the skeleton approach because I have no idea what will happen in the game. I just kind of make it up as I go. And yeah, and again, that depends on your approach as well. It depends on your idea for the game. If you have the full vision of the game in your head, then this will make sense to you. But yeah, if you're developing it as you go, then yeah, obviously you can't account for everything, and it would get messy if you map out what you think you have as the story, and then halfway through you're like, oh, actually I want to change a whole bunch of this. But for me, I feel like and because this is a simple and smaller game, I feel like I can definitely map this full thing out and not need to deviate too much from it. Like it's pretty straightforward what I want to do. So yeah, let's get into it. It's enough of me talking. Let's actually start building things. So, well, okay, well, let's do a little playthrough. I need to have like a routine, like a schedule for what I do every time I do one of these streams. Also, I might stream tomorrow, earlier in the day, because I've kind of got half the day before I've got to run off and catch up with my kids. So, yeah, I'll potentially be streaming and doing this tomorrow as well. So let's have a look. Let's have a look so far what we've got. We've got our text scroll. Yada 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 yada. So here's my volume. We've got our starting area on the dock. Oh, we need to spruce this up first, actually. We need to make it so that there's like a dialogue box that comes up that says, hey, to move around, press the arrow keys. And then there'll be another dialogue box that says, hey, to talk to people, press Z. Try talking to the sailor now. And yeah, so a little bit more of a tutorial. Talking to him. And we move away from there. So once we get out of the docks, we can never return to the docks, because if we leave, it takes us to the world map. Okay. So we're back in the hub town. Got Horse Night. We've got our shops. Oh, see? So this is what we set up last time. Now, I should probably make it that you can't leave without seeing the king first, but then after that, so I forgot to set up that event for the exit, so I'll need to do that. Yeah, we've got our different shops. We can't go over here yet. Yeah. We'll go talk to the king. Howdy, howdy. I will come back when I have a full party, he says. And so this is kind of where we are at the moment. This is as far as we've generated in terms of the story. Because we go to the bar and there's no one here yet. We can talk to the bartender. Yep. And then da 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 da. So yeah, that's kind of it so far. That's what we've made. I say we, because this is a joint effort. Even though I'm doing all the work, we've done this together. We've done this together. 20-minute talk testing, 1 hour and 20 minutes of doing RPGMaker, 20 minutes of testing, talking maybe. Like a mini schedule. Moral support. Mini schedule. Because what did I say? I usually do usually these streams are 2 hours. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Moral support. Exactly, trailer. Exactly. Cool. So what are we doing? I need to. So we need to take this event. Wait, actually, we've got our event page over here. Where we say I need to go see the king first. We'll copy that and we'll paste it in here. And as I've said the other day, this is one of the worst non-features of RPGMaker, but there's no easy way to move the position of these event tabs. you literally have to copy, paste, so that it appears after, and then delete the other one. So we also need to make sure the switch spoke to the king is on for this one. And the player will step backward after they say, I need to go see the king first. And that's fine. That's because you can only approach this event tile from one direction. And so there's no chance of the player getting soft locked. So we fix that. Let's delete these other ones and just copy and paste. Cool. So after you've seen the king, you do actually, I don't care, I'm going to give the player the option of entering the world map. That's fine. Yeah, they can enter the world map and do some battles and find that fighting by themselves is difficult. So they'll want to come back. And even if they make it to the Earth Temple, I need to actually think about blocking this off somehow. Whether I do that with mountains, and then the king will give us some way of getting through to be able to reach the fire temple. But yeah, they'll even be able to go all the way to the Earth Temple, but the Earth Temple will be locked. You know, it'll have a door that requires a special key or gem or something that only the king will give them once they've got their party. So I won't completely handhold the player. If they want to wander off and do that, they're welcome to do that. It'll be a bit of a waste of time, but freedom to them. But what we do want them to do is to leave the king and so let's do that. Let's change, actually, focus fill. So we need, let's fix up this tutorial area first. So one thing we can do is, well, the way I like to do it is for any of my like cutscene events or anything like that, I like to pop them in the top left hand corner. Unless, you know, the map has something there, then I guess I would put it somewhere else. But I usually like to put my cutscene events in the top left hand corner, because usually it's on like a part of the map that's inaccessible, and I'll always know that I can look for it in the top left hand corner. Yeah, handholding really sucks if it's overused. Case in point, new Pokemon games. Yeah, I haven't heard too much about the actual gameplay itself, but I've heard plenty about the buildings. Or building, I should say. It's all one huge model apparently, with just textures painted over it. So let's just call this tutorial. Tutorial cutscene. Let's do that. So for a cutscene, if the cutscene needs to trigger on its own, like as soon as you enter a map, then we want to use the trigger here. We've gone through these triggers before. There's the action button, player touch, event touch. We want auto run. Do not choose parallel for your cutscenes, because unless you want the player to be able to move around during the cutscene and essentially break it, you want auto run. I've made the mistake. I don't know why, but I got into my mind to use parallel, and then I was testing the game and I was like, wait, why am I moving around right now? Why am I allowed to do that? And then I realized. So we want auto run. So just what that means is, as soon as we enter this map, as long as if there's no switches, if there's no conditions on this event, it will play automatically as soon as you enter the map. So if you don't want it to play immediately, but you want it to play like only after you've talked to a certain NPC or something like that, then you would use a condition. But we want this to start as soon as we drop into the map. But they have so much money to make a quality game. Yeah, yeah. And like, if we're getting into that argument, it doesn't even have to. It's not. I don't even want like Unreal Engine, high fidelity, realistic graphics of Pokemon. Like it should be stylized, right? But that, but yeah, there should be. I mean, there is a lot of effort put into like the way the Pokemon look and everything, but apparently they only spent 13 million on the game, which that's insane return on investment. And that's little piece of extra intro. If you have multiple auto run parallel events, the game will run them one after another, starting from the lowest ID. Oh yeah, I've never thought of that. Hmm. Hmm. I've definitely had multiple parallel events going before. But why spend a lot of money when people buy the slot betting? Exactly, that's the thing. They figured it out, and that's it's essentially shrinkflation for video games. They've they've distilled the formula down to the bare essentials that they need in order to keep selling the games. Um, and yeah, they know they can get away with it. So it's not until one of their games really bombs, which it never will, because it's also, while the game has broad appeal, it is still mostly aimed at children, and they're not that discerning when it comes to the things that we're complaining about here. Um, hmm. Yeah, parallel ones will parallel, but technically it'll start ID 1, then 2. There are some edge cases where that is good to know. It's more important for auto run. Yeah. Oh, right. I was like, where's the ID? So there's the ID there in the top left-hand corner. So ID 5 will run before, if I was create another event, it will have ID 6. And so if they're both running auto run, it will run this one first, and then it will run the second one. That's actually, it's good to know. Thanks, Harlequin. I learned something today, because I've never had a situation where I've had to have multiple auto run, without already having things in place to make them play in the order that I want them to play. But that could save some time, like, rather than setting up certain triggers, I could literally just be like, yeah, just as a cascade, it'll run in that order. However, if you don't tell your event to end, auto run will run forever. Your event will keep going ad infinitum. Yeah, unless something tells it to change. The more you know. Oh. If you have an auto run event for, let's say, a weather effect, and then have another auto run for the cutscene for whatever reason, but the cutscene is ID 1 and the weather is ID 2, you won't have that weather during the whole cutscene. Yeah. Okay, so we want some text to pop up. To say, oops, move with the arrow keys. And yeah, we won't have a face, so it'll just be that popping up. We could make it dim. No, we'll just keep it as a window. That's fine. Yeah. So that'll come up, and then let's get tricky with it. Why not? let's yeah, should we get tricky with it? Getting tricky with it. Another bit of info is event page priority. More of a newbie thing, but RPG Maker will always activate the page with the highest ID that has its conditions true. Yeah. So again, ID and then yeah, whichever. What do you mean, like the page tabs? Like whichever, the highest of the page tabs that has. Yeah, I've talked about that before as well, where if you've got 5 tabs, uh it checks 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It will check the conditions of each page, and if the conditions of 5 are met, it will only play the events of page 5 and ignore all the other ones. Probably did, yeah. It's just a thing that tends to pop up on the forum every now and then. Yeah, because it is confusing until you actually make it yourself and make some mistakes and see how that actually, yeah, what's that actually done. So yeah, but then if it checks the conditions of 5 and they're not met, then it will move to 4, and again, if 4 is met, then it will do the events of 4 and will not keep going through 3, 2, 1. It will stop at 4. So if you definitely want page 1 to play first, then you need to make sure that none of the other conditions of the other pages are met. And yeah, it's explaining it and seeing it happen. Yeah, it's definitely an easy way. So what we're going to do, just to make this interesting, this isn't necessarily how you should set up your tutorial, but just so we can see some more event commands, we're going to move with the arrow keys, and then we're going to give the player a little bit of time to actually move around. And then after a certain amount of time, the next part of the tutorial will automatically activate. My brain is starting to hurt. Is this your first time using a trailer? Oh, my brain. I'm kind of surprised the guy named Trailer Drew did not read the trailer linked at all. Oh, he'll probably do a video on it. So yeah, move with the arrow keys, and so then we're gonna create a self switch. We're gonna turn on self switch A, and we're gonna do our next page, and we're gonna change the event trigger for this next page to parallel, because we want the player to be able to move around while this is happening in the background. And we're gonna use the wait function. So on the second page, under timing, the wait function. And we're gonna give the player 10 seconds. So 60 seconds is 1 frame. So 600 seconds is 600 frames is 10 seconds. So we're going to give, which is probably too much time, but we're going to give him 10 seconds to walk around. After that 10 seconds, we're going to activate another self switch B. All right, so we got to make sure self switch A is turned on. So right now it's going to say move with the arrow keys. After you exit that dialog box, self switch A is going to turn on, which will activate this event page, where the event will run parallel to the player, allowing them to move their player around and do whatever they want for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, self switch B will turn on. So again, this is a good example too of, and we're going to copy this first page. This is a good example too of like this order of conditions and pages, right? You could do a conditional branch, checking for the player to press all 4 directions, then go to the next bit of tutorial instead of waiting. Yep, that's another way you could do it too. But what if they never press all 4 directions? Because maybe they'll only move forward. And this is the thing. You you could create what you think is the most airtight tutorial, and players will find a way to just break it. And that's why playtesting is very important for your games. Because something that makes complete sense to you could mean something completely different to someone else that plays your game. So now we've got self switch B. And this is when, after they've walked around a little bit, if they haven't figured this out already, interact using, or interact by pressing Z. Is it Z? Is it Z or X? I can never remember. Yeah, it's Z, right? Interact by pressing Z. Try talking to the sailor. Oh, so we should do that because the player doesn't know the controls yet, maybe. Z. Look, growing up, I liked saying Z because I thought Z sounded cooler. But actually, no, that's not right. I prefer Z. Dragon Ball Z. You don't say Dragon Ball Z. If player heart dead, call ambulance. Wait, what's 3 equals mean again? I don't remember. Or is that an emoticon? Anyway, okay, move with the arrow keys. We're telling them, we're giving them a prompt to press Z to continue if they're not familiar with the controls. So they'll press Z. They'll move around. This is going to pop up. Interact by pressing Z. Try talking to the sailor. And then we want, I mean, yeah. 3 equals is just a very strict check for the condition. Yeah, right. That's right. One of the few bits of JavaScript I kept in my brain. Yeah. Oh, dead. They go to the morgue. What are we doing? So so we could erase, well, actually no, we're not going to erase the event yet because we want there to be no, we don't need a tutorial for them to open the menu. That's not important yet. It doesn't matter. Wait, not always. What are we doing? Sidetracking you into making 0 progress is what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah. You don't actually need multiple changes for this event at all. No, you don't. This was more just, yeah, there's definitely more efficient ways to do what I'm doing here. This is just more to look at, yeah, like switching between auto run, parallel, and the difference that makes. So. Yeah, auto switch on. Just a new event page, self switch C, just so that's blank. You could just erase the event. For me, and you'll never return here anyway, so it's not even gonna matter. Yeah, it's up to you how you want to do it. This is what I do. It happens. Goku is a bad person. Huh? Why are you just throwing stuff out like that? Trailer? What are you doing? Okay. So let's have a little squiz as to what that looks like. So remember, it's auto run, so as soon as we enter the map. Yeah. So we could actually, in the auto run, put like a little, we should probably make it wait like 60 frames. Just so the player can sort of take in this, what's happening. We can let that flash, that white flash finish playing out. Because it's kind of weird that as soon as you drop in, that comes up straight away. And so this again is where you can really polish your game and think more about the user experience, you know, rather than things jarringly happening. You know, you ease into it using like wait commands, things like that. Yeah. Race event is more of a this needs to happen every time the player goes back here thing. Yeah. Since the self switch doesn't occupy switch ID, no reason not to use. Yeah. Yeah. Love me some self switches. His need to fight stronger people literally gets universes erased from existence. Yeah. Moved with the arrow keys. Almost like violence is not the answer. Okay, so we've got 10 seconds to move around. So that's the thing though. In that time, the player could leave without even talking to... Okay. Interact by pressing Z. Try talking to the sailor. So we could definitely cut that time in half. I should make it 2 that if you try to leave, it doesn't let you leave yet until you've spoken to them maybe. Trillion's dead. Boo. Not true though. The universes were going to be erased by Zeno anyway. Tournament gives at least one of them the chance to survive by winning. Also, I am not up on like Dragon Ball Super. If that's the plot that we're talking about, I have no idea. Cool. So that's a tutorial. Let's tweak it a little bit. So, like I said, we want to pop in a little wait. So 60 frames. So it's just going to be a second. But that's going to let things play out. It'll let the scene sit for a second before... Maybe we'll make it 90 seconds. 90 frames. A second and a half. So during this time, because it's auto run, the player will have... Even though nothing is happening, the player will have no control of their character. So even if they're pressing the arrow keys, for that 90 frames, they're immobile because it's auto run. So only this event can act, essentially. I happened to have watched it the other day, but the season ended mid-tournament and I don't see another season where it continues. Just movies that didn't seem to continue from there. So here's another little thing we can learn about as well. So there are control characters where if you use... Is that a back or a forward slash? It's a backslash, right? Because it's leaning backwards. You can use a backslash, and the different characters you see here to do different things within the text. So you can make it call a variable. You can make it say the name of someone in your party, so you don't have to type out their whole name every time, but then you've got to memorize the control character anyway. But one of the things you can do, which is important for cutscenes, is you can make it wait, the text wait. So say you have ellipses and you want the dot 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 to come out as a dot dot dot. You can use these control characters to create that effect. And you know, so if we wait maybe just half a second before press Z to continue pops up. Which tournament are we talking about? Tournament of Power. Didn't that one wrap up years ago? I don't know. The site I was watching on the seat. Coco, are you coming in with the ellipses? I was watching on the season ended before they finished it. Only like Krillin was out and then nothing more. According to Google, you watched some Broly movie after. Seemed out of order though. So again, so these are all little things that you can do to polish up your cutscenes and give them more impact and better game feel. So we're waiting 90 frames. We're moving with the arrow keys. Pause on that, and then press Z to continue. Will appear down the bottom. The only thing that's annoying about this is that it takes away player control. Though, like that, those wait commands have to play out. You can't skip them. So you can't skip through this dialogue, essentially. Now, we didn't want to wait 300 frames. Let's wait 600 frames. We'll wait 300. And then, again, interact by pressing Z. We'll have a half-second wait. And then try talking to the sailor will appear. And, like, having this way, instead of the text coming out as fast as it does, it gives the impression to the player of, like, someone talking to them. And I think is much more engaging that way. Last episode of Tournament of Power aired in North America in 2018. It's been that long since Dragon Ball Super has had episodes. That is missing some stuff. I just don't know. It didn't conclude. Try talking to the sailor. And yeah. So yeah, I think that's fine. Maybe I don't want to block the player. If they want to walk off, they can walk off. See, so there was that pause before this came up. Oh, also half a second, that didn't make that much of a difference. Maybe I should make it a full second. Interact by pressing Z. Try talking to the sailor. Well, maybe... Okay, we'll make it even shorter time. Because if I make it that... Like, how long does it take? 1 potato, 2 potato, 3... Okay, so it takes like 3 seconds to walk off the map, right? So if we make it like 1.5 seconds of freedom, maybe? Or 2 seconds? 2 seconds? What's that? 120. 120 frames. Hundred episodes. And with that shy sane girl going Broly mode. You know, I've kind of thought about making like a fan game. Move with the arrow keys. Press C to continue. Oh. Interact by pressing Z. Try talking to the sailor. Cool. Alright. Enough of that. We've done the tutorial. We can spruce that up more later. We can talk to the king, and then we need to go to the bar. So we're gonna let the king give us a bit more direction. You can always find adventurers at the bar. So the king will tell you, hey, you should go to the bar. You fan games. What was it? Well, actually, one thing that I would really like to try to do, and I think someone else has tried to do it, is to, because it would just be fun to think about mechanically trying to make it work. Because I love the Monster Hunter games. Like, I've been playing them since the first one came out on PS2. And huge fan. Although I haven't got Wilds yet because I'm still waiting for it to be playable. But yeah, it would be cool to try and make a Monster Hunter game using RPGMaker. That'd be kind of sick. Okay, so we've got that. We've got that. So he's going to the, we go to the bar, and at the bar we've got our 3 party members. So we'll have one over here. Who's our, we got our rogue. I want to change the rogue actually. Sprite for the rogue. Because at the moment we've only, because this is a guy, right? Is this a guy? I'm pretty sure this is a guy. So we've only got one girl in the party, and I think we need to make those numbers even. So we'll change the rogue to this one. Get our rogue girl. Lucius is a guy. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got our rogue. Where's our rogue on here? Oops. Yeah, we want them facing, yeah. By accident, we want them facing the table. Are they stepping or are they still? This is the thing. Stepping always makes it seem like when they're not stepping, it seems like they're just like not alive, you know? But also it's weird that they're sitting down and they're shuffling their feet. So we'll leave her still. Let's drop them in first. Let's give them positions. Let's pop. Who's gonna be over here? Who's drinking the wine? It's gonna be our cleric. Our wisecracking cleric. And facing that way. And over here. Or maybe this, maybe here. We'll have our mage. Which one's our mage? Oh, over here. This is our mage. I like how the live action Dragon Ball Z pissed off the creator so much that he came out of retirement. Is that what did it? Because that, yeah, I don't think I'll ever see the movie, but I didn't need to. You just had to look. You just look at screenshots of the film and you go, yeah, that's terrible. What is it? Dragon Ball Evolution? So bad. Like, how do you get it that wrong? How do you look at the series, Dragon Ball, the series, Dragon Ball Z, and like, you know, simplify it down to its most basic elements, which would do a disservice to it, but you just go muscular men fighting and shooting lasers at each other, right? You could break it down to that. And they straight off the bat, they're just like, yeah, let's pick some scrawny white dude to play Goku. Like how do you miss the whole, like, the whole thing is like, like just buff dudes hitting each other. Ugh, so bad. Yeah, the most basic element of Dragon Ball is screaming for 3 episodes and firing a beam for 3 seconds. Oh, and Goku dying. Yeah. Yeah, he's got to die, but before that, he's got to scream and shoot some lasers. Yeah. In the next Dragon Ball Z. In the next Dragon Ball Z. You know what I'm saying? I love Dragon Ball Z. Cool. So we've got our friends here. Yeah. So we want it that as soon as you come in here, you talk to them and they're going to join your party. So we want to make it that you also can't leave until the party's full. So do we need a switch? I think we need a switch, because we can say, do you have this actor? But then that means you could grab just that party member and then leave. We don't want that. So we're probably gonna have a switch, and maybe we're gonna do some things unnecessarily, but we're gonna do it to show off how to use different things. How many Dragon Ball characters does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but they take 5 episodes channeling key. Yeah. It was worse when we didn't have the internet and had to wait for the next episode. Yeah. Yeah. And then, when you learn what a filler episode is, and you're like, oh no, it's a filler episode. No, we're not changing that. Guys, we're going to introduce variables. And why are we doing this? This is not the way to do this. Okay, guys? This is jank, but we're going to do it so we can just show how to use variables. So I'm going to create this variable called number of party members. Okay? So this is the variable selector. This is much like the switch selector, where I said, you can change the number of variables that you have, and it will create it in lots of 20, right? An entire episode following a guy who turned into a frog. Yeah. So number of party members, again, naming your variables in a way that you'll recognize very quickly and understand what the variable is for. That's important, but you also don't want to be too long with it. So I could even, to make this a bit shorter, is just make it number of party members, so that it fits on the screen. And we're going to make it So the variable is always going to start at 0. And we want it to be so that if the number of party members is greater than 3, you'll be able to leave. Now, okay, there's different ways we could do this. Let's not do it here. Let's not do that. Let's do it within the event. Let's do new, and we can create a conditional branch. And we can do variable, and we can do greater than or equal to. I mean, it will never increase. So let's just do equal to 3. So we're saying, and then we'll also have an else branch. And this is why I decided to do, you'll see why I decided to do this instead of what I was doing just before. So we've got that. If number of party members equals 3, you can leave the bar. But if not, we're going to make it that our beautiful knight says, I can't leave until I have a full party. Okay. So anything, if anything other than this happening, this is what's going to happen. This is the if else, right? Statement. So again, if you have a bit of programming knowledge, this will make sense to you. But if you don't have that, it's just saying if the number of party members equals 3, do this. Otherwise, if it's anything other than that, do this. So that's that. Now, let's do a little bit of dialogue. We won't get too heavy into it. But no, what are we doing? Let's do, so the knight's approaching, he's saying, hey, are you an adventurer? This is funny. I'm like, how does, what's a natural way for a knight to approach a cleric in a bar? This sounds like a joke. A knight and a cleric walk into a bar. For a knight to approach a cleric and say, hey, I'm looking to grab the temple, the treasure of the Sky Temple. Are you interested? Maybe, hey, are you a cleric? And our wisecracking friend, who's asking, right? I'm looking to form a party to go after the Sky treasure. Sky treasure? Look broke. I'm looking for that treasure. Want to join? Bro, those are some shabby clothes. Would you be interested in upgrading? I'm looking to form a party to go after the Sky treasure. Would you be interested? I'm so this is all placeholder. This isn't definitive. I'm knee deep in debt. I don't think I have a choice. And then we'll have a blank text that says cleric joined the party. Maybe we make it dim and we make it appear in the middle. And we'll make a little sound effect play. It's so long. Why is it so long? That's kind of funny. That's actually really fitting for the cleric. Maybe everyone should have their own sound effect. All right, so cleric joined the party. Sound effect's going to play. We then want to make sure we actually add. So this what's the best way to do this? We want to activate a self switch first, maybe, because we need this sprite of the cleric to disappear, right? There's a few ways we could do it. So we could make it so that it actually, yeah. Because what could happen is maybe we'll just show. We'll show. Show don't tell. Show don't tell. So cleric join the party, and then we want the cleric sprite here to disappear, and then after he disappears, we want him to appear in our party. Right? So party, change party member, add the cleric. Okay? And initialize, what that does, yeah, if you click initialize, so say you have like an RPG where you have like lots of potential party members and you can switch between them as you move throughout the game. If you wanted it so that, you know, well, if you leave the party member and then bring them back in, whatever level they were at, they'll still be there. But if for some reason you wanted them to go back to their base level, you know, as they're set up at their base level in the database, then you would hit initialize. But that doesn't matter because he's only joining us now and is going to be base level anyway. So it's going to add the cleric. Yeah, it'll add the cleric, end this, and then they should disappear. So this probably won't work out the way that I want it to, right? So let's, also we need to make it so that we change the variable that we set up. So we go here to control variables, and the number of party members variable, we want to add 1. We want to add 1 to the variable. And each character that we talk to, they're going to have this one where it adds 1, so that by the time we've talked and gathered all 3, the number of party members variable will be 3 and we'll be allowed to leave the bar. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Let's check it out. Oh, All right. And so we got to go. So again, when you're playtesting, this is why it's important to create like multiple saves. Right, so we're going to save here just before we enter the bar. Okay, so when I try to leave, I can't leave until I have a full party. Oh, I also need to make it so that he steps backwards. So I've got to add that. See, I feel like they should be stepping. They look so sad when they're not doing anything. Okay, so let's talk to the cleric. Hey, are you a cleric? Who's asking? I'm looking to form a party to go after the sky treasure. Would you be interested? I'm knee deep in debt. I don't think I have a choice. Cleric, join the party. Ah, so that worked. Yeah. Yeah, that was effective. He like jumped straight into the party. That worked. All the NPCs need to have ADHD, huh? Yeah. Look, they're so still. They're like too still. And do we try to leave? No, can't leave until I have a full party. Hey, we could have some fun with this too, right? So just to, again, as a tutorial to show off some of the things you can do, we can make it that depending on the party members that you have, if you try to leave without a full party, the party members that you currently have with you will chime in. So we can add here, what do I want to do? Another conditional branch. And we want to say actor. And we want to say cleric. So this is a, if the cleric is in the party, we don't need an else branch because we only want this certain thing to activate if the cleric's in the party. You know, yeah, so if we have the cleric in our party and we try to leave, he'll say, I can't leave until I have a full party, and then the cleric will chime in and say, we ain't getting far if it's just you and me. Which won't work because you could potentially trigger this with an extra party member. We ain't getting far without a full party. Right. Now, is this necessary? No, but again, this is something that you can do, particularly if the game that you're making, like there's a big focus on the relationships between and the dynamics between your party members. This is a good way to add, yeah, extra dialogue and cuts, you know. And again, if you have a game where there's multiple party members that you're switching in and out, you know, you want to be able to, wait, why do I keep getting these why do I keep getting these followers that have these names? Is this a bot thing? I am about to CVM. Thank you for the follow. Um, 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 um. Yeah, and so this is just a way that conditionally, depending on the party members that you have in your party, will change the dialogue that's expressed. So we need to change this as well so that can't leave until I have a full party, and we want to make it so that the player steps backwards. And yeah. But if you do that, you'll also have to consider all the possible variations, but also make it so they don't all chime in and say, we need more member, because that doesn't make sense as a conversation. It gets complicated quick. Exactly. So even with a little interaction like this, like I'm not going to make them all say the same thing. And maybe it's just the cleric that decides he's the one that wants to chime in. But again, this is just a way to show off these are things that you can do. And you know, this is this interaction that I'm creating. It could be 99.99% of players will never see it because the objective is to get a full party. So they'll immediately go, okay, 1, 2, 3, and leave. So it's up to you. Like, you can put all that love and that care in those extra interactions, as long as you're okay with knowing that, you know, and especially if no one ever plays your game, but, you know, it might not be 20 years later that there's a random IGN article that's like, oh, this interaction discovered 20 years later from old RPGMaker game. Like, and that's probably not going to happen either. Yeah. So, hey, you're a cleric, looking, join the party, joins us. You should put all that love and care into your game no matter what, TBH. Yes. But I think it's good and healthy to have a realistic expectation of, you know, what's going to happen. Can't leave until I have a full party. You ain't getting far without a full party. You know, we could change that. Damn straight. All right, short and sweet. So yeah, so you could see that that extra dialogue played because, yeah, exactly what I meant. Yeah. Um. Cool. So let's gather our other party members. Got our mage. Is our knight a huge pervert? Is he going, hey cutie? Hey cutie. Want to join my party? Hey, let's just keep that same flow of dialogue that we've already established, right? Hey, are you a such and such? Hey, are you a mage? Casting spells be what I do. I'm trying to obtain the sky treasure. I could use your talents. Um, I can't afford the healing potions my sick mother needs. I'm in. And then we've got our dim mage joins the party. Now, I could have copied my event page from the cleric and pasted it and just edited it that way. It could save a little bit of time, but you know, doesn't make all that much difference. So mage joins the party. What's our little sound effect going to be? Why don't we do an actual sound effect? Because she's a mage, we want like a magic ability sound. Oh, why did I not play the horse sound? I gotta add that to the horse night. All right. Magic. Here we go. Okay. These are terrible. So many sound effects, I tell you. Skill? No. Teleport? No. No. Raise? You know what? Let's do that. Why not? Very magic sound effect. Then what do we want? When do we want it? Now. We're doing a self switch to that. We're doing that. Creating an event page with self switch A on. And we are adding the mage. And that should be that, right? That's exactly what we did over here. Oh, we need this. We need to add this. Okay. And yeah, let's, what if we grab all that, paste it there, do that. And hey, are you a rogue? Are you a cop? uh, um, let's just not change that. Let's just keep that the same. Sky treasure. Treasure? Say no more. And what's his, it's gonna be like a slash, right? His sound effect. S. What am I doing? S. Slash. How does any of that sound like a slash? Sword, that's what I want. Sounds like a little dagger being drawn, doesn't it? Alright. Rogue joins the party. And change that to Rogue. There we go. So we have now set up our bar with our 3 party members that we can all gather, and then you can leave. So just for the sake of it, we can add more of these if ones, right? If rogue in the party, what do they say? So I can't leave until I have a full party, and the rogue says, what does the rogue say? What does the rogue say? I need more bodies to hide behind. Right? A rogue thing to say. And then if mage is in the party, what does the mage say? Um, hmm, uh, oh, 4 is the magic number. The 3 is the magic number, but the full party is 4. 4 is the magic number. She can just say that. Whatever. Let's not think too deeply about it. Let's play. Let's check it out. Let's see what happens. We continue from our save. We're in the bar. The Holy Cup is, so we try to leave. I can't leave until I have a full party. Moves back. Let's get our rogue. Hey, are you a rogue? Are you a cop? I'm trying to obtain the sky treasure. I could use your talents. Treasure? Say no more. Cool. Then we try to leave. I can't leave until I have a full party. Need more bodies to hide behind. Right. Lol 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 lol. And let's grab our mage. Hey, you a mage? Casting spells be what I do. I'm trying to obtain the sky treasure. I could use your talents. I can't afford the healing potions my sick mother needs. I'm in. Mage joins the party. What are they going to say? I can't leave until I have a full party. Need more bodies to hide behind. 4 is the magic number. Are you a cop is the perfect rogue response, right? And let's get our final party member. Are you a cleric? Who's asking? I'm looking to form a party. Go after the sky treasure. Would you be interested? I'm knee deep in debt. I don't think I have a choice. And then we can leave. See? No. So that's a thing too. There's 3 possible responses, but the maximum number of responses you could ever get is 2. So, you know, if someone was a real completionist and wanted to see everything the game could offer, they'd have to replay that part to get all the dialogue. The precious, precious dialogue. So now we have our party. Now, so we've got our menu here, right? We've got item, skill, equip, status, formation, options, save, end. Formation. You can change the order in which your party is, but mechanically, without like plugins and stuff, it doesn't really make a difference. Yeah, doesn't really make a difference. So you can give, you know, your players the option to do that, but yeah, how does that complicate things? It can mess up your events, maybe? They change the formation? No, I don't think it will. Anyway. So we've got our party, so now we need to make it so that when we go back to the king, he's like, hey, good job. Well, it could make a difference even without plugins by checking who's the party leader. and change dialogue according to it. Ah, yes. Okay. So, you know, so again, if you're wanting to give your characters much more personality and more opportunity to show off that personality, you could make it, and it would be a lot of extra work that, you know, depending on who your main party leader is, will change the types of dialogue. You know, so maybe if I'm talking to the bartender, if I'm talking to them with the cleric as the main, as the party leader, I can set it, set a condition. I think, is there a condition? Character? No. Small details that take the most amount of work. Always, yeah. I don't. How do you make it that it checks for a check for the party leader? That's probably more with plugins, but you know, so I could make it that if the cleric talks to the bartender says, "Hey, just so you know, I'm not allowed to serve you drinks anymore. Like you've had enough." You'd use a script call, right? Right. There's. I don't think I ever saved it, but there is like a PDF out there with all the script calls, right? Like floating around somewhere in RPGMaker forum. Because I had to grab it one time because I needed to figure out how to do one certain thing, and I needed to know the script call for it. Yeah, it's on the forum. Yeah, handy resource. Try to find it. Check it out. Cool. But yeah, so you could have interesting interactions like that, and like if you don't want that effort to go to waste, definitely try to make sure that your players know that that's a feature of the game. Um, and but you also have to make sure you make it worth their time if they're gonna change their character, change the party leader. But for our game, we don't really want them to change the formation. So what we can do is in the system here, in the system on the database under the system tab, we have the menu commands, and you know this is important too. Like if you're making like a visual novel type game where you don't really have an inventory or skills or anything like that, then obviously you would just get rid of those things from your menu. But yeah, we don't need formation. And you know, maybe you know you're making a horror game, so you don't want the player to be able to save whenever they want, but they have to only save at save points. So you might get rid of the save menu command as well. Also, another thing, this is going way back several streams ago. You could do it without a script call too by setting a variable to game data member one actor ID in like a common event parallel. Yeah. Yeah. I will pretend that I know what you're talking. I do know what you're talking about, but I also uh could not articulate in a more simple way what you're talking about. um but yes, there's lots of ways to do many things. You just got to know what you're doing. So something that we did a few streams ago is we were setting up some of our abilities, and one thing we did was we changed the guard function to this charge ability, because not only do you block, but you actually recover MP, because I wanted to make a way for you to recover MP, because you know, rather than just usually, you know, if we're going by like Final Fantasy, ethers were always super rare, so you always hold on to them and maybe never use them, and so you don't end up recovering your MP, and you don't end up using half of the abilities that you've got, right? Because you're scared of wasting them. A way to discourage that is to give the player a very easy way to restore their resources. But like it still takes up a turn. You still have to give up a turn to regain this MP. So you know it's not just free and easy. And even then, the amount that, well, it recovers 50% of your MP. But, you know, I want the combat to be fun where you're actually encouraged to use your skills more often than you are to use just your basic attack. Mind blown. So we had this charge ability, right? But when I went into a battle, it was still saying guard. And I was like, oh, why is that? And I forgot. It's because over in the terms, the commands here, these are the commands. So this is where, yeah, the terms section is where you can change the names of everything. So, you know, maybe instead of level, you do age. And so every time you level up, you're actually getting older. You know, or you want to give it some fancy name where it's just like, you know, it's like key, you know, my key is level 99 or whatever. So, you know, you can, you know, if you want to get fancy, and like here, right, we've got attack, defense, magic attack, magic defense, agility, luck, hit, evasion. You might want to go the more traditional route of like strength, constitution, or maybe endurance. Strength, endurance, intelligence, because it's attack, and wisdom, because it's about being smart and defending yourself. Instead of agility, could be dexterity, and luck is luck, you know? So you can do all that, and that way when you look at your status page, it will show these as your stats instead. And yeah, you can change your these, you know, if it's not magic points, if it's, you know, action points, you change it to AP instead. TP, I think we're going to change TP. I don't know what we're going to change it to yet, but we're going to change it to something else. Because what does TP stand for? Toilet paper? Maybe it will be AP for action points, because that's going to be what primarily fuels like the knight and the rogue's abilities. So maybe we'll just change it to AP for now. Let's do that. And, you know, again, experience, maybe you want to call it souls, maybe you want to call it something else. Tech points. Yeah, is that what it is? Nice. Technique points. Yeah. We're going for action points. But yeah, so that guard still says guard because we need to change this term here. So I want to change it to charge. And so that way when we're in battle, so now it says charge, whereas before it said guard. Okay. Look at that. Cool. So yeah, I forgot to change it in that stream because I got distracted by other things. But now we're back. Okay, so that's that. We have our party. We have our party and we want to go back to the king. And like still at this point, you know, you could leave the castle and walk all the way over to the Earth Temple, and then you'll get there and you'll be like, oh, I need a key. And then you'll trudge all the way back to the king. So now we want the king to tell us. So we want a new switch, and look, we can use the variable. We can use the variable that we created before, and we know that it's set to 3. So we can say, look, if it's set to 3, please use this dialogue and ignore these other event pages. Don't forget to save. Thank you, trailer. Thank you, trailer. Yeah. I should make a channel point thing where you can, where it's just like one channel point in it, and it's a reminder for me to save my game. That'd be a good one. Um. Oh, also, have you noticed, trailer, the points, the point cost for everything has gone down. I think. I hope. Should have saved the thing that I did. Um. Cool. So now, uh, uh, I'm back. Here's my party. I did see that. I'm so close. What, to naming a boss already? So what are we doing? I'm back. Here's my party. I am. Maybe everyone chimes in. Here's my party. Um, we'd like the treasure now, please. What he said. I don't think it works like that, guys. And look, okay, we're gonna add this dot 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 to make the dot, the ellipses go. I don't think it works like that, guys. 11.2k points. Nice. Nice. You know, now that I know that you're this close, I'm gonna change it again, trailer. I'm gonna put it just out of your reach, so you have to keep coming back. Cool. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think it works like that, guys. Um, I hope you understand how dangerous this is. Hundreds have fallen, attempting to claim this treasure. Take this gem. It will grant you access to the Earth Temple. And we can have a little dialogue that says you received the Earth Gem. And then let's get out of that for a second. I want to get the points to not make my NPC homeless, just to have them scold the player for breaking into people's homes. It's like, you're not supposed to be in here. Let's. This is going to hurt my soul a little bit, but I think we're just going to have to haphazardly make our items as we go. I could try to keep them all nice and neat, but yeah. Also types. They're different. I don't remember if there's different. Yeah, no, key items. That's right. So we're gonna make the earth gem item. We're gonna pick an icon, something that looks like an earth gem. Look at that. Look at that. A perfect little earth gem. Use to open. Use to grant access to the earth temple. And we're going to set it to a key item. You can't sell it, and no, it's not consumable. Well, no, it's not consumable. Occasion, so kind of like with the skills, like can you use it in battle? Can you use it not in battle, but only on the menu? So we want that you can only view it on the menu screen. What do we want? Never. Let's just say menu screen. There is no scope. And we can ignore all of this. And it doesn't do any damage, doesn't do anything else. It's just a key, right? It's just an item that we have in our possession, and we're going to use that as a check, as a conditional check for the door to let you in. So yeah, there we go. We got our earth gem. We've created it. And look, while we're here, let's do the water gem. Grant access to the water temple. Yeah. And then the fire gem. Grant access to the fire temple. Okay. Cool. So we got those gems. Very nice. Back to our king. Back to our event page here. Hundreds have fallen attempting to claim this treasure. Take this gem. It will grant you access to the Earth Temple. You received the... Let's... Before that. So, event command, change items. And we want the Earth Gem. We want to increase, not decrease, by one. One Earth Gem given to the player. And you know, our world map is pretty obvious where things are, but you know, helping the player is always a good idea. Oh, that's he's polite. All right, he says thank you. Thank you, and you can find the Earth Temple to the west. Okay. And then we want another self. So we want a self switch. And let's copy paste self switch A. And he just says that. Maybe he says something extra. You can find the Earth Temple to the west. I pray you succeed where so many others have failed. Thank you. Uh, okay. Cool. So, bada bing, bada boom. That's that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we go to the bar. Hey, you a mage? So now you can see that formation option is gone. So we can't change the formation. Blah, blah, blah. Full party. Party, party. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what causes that. I should really look that up. That's really annoying. Okay. We go and see the king. I'm back. Here's my party. We'd like the treasure now, please. What he said. I don't think it works like that, guys. ... Did you see that? How effective. How cool. How dynamic. I hope you understand how dangerous this is. Hundreds have fallen attempting to claim this treasure. Take this gem. It will grant you access to the Earth Temple. You received the Earth Gem. Thank you. You can find the Earth Temple to the west. And if we talk to him again, you can find the Earth Temple to the west. I pray you succeed where so many others have failed. Thank you. And if we look at our items, so it's not in our item, but it's in our key item. And there you go. Used to grant access to the Earth Temple. So your little descriptions there are important. You know, if you're going for like a Dark Souls type game where all the lore is derived from item descriptions, then pay attention to that. See, I could even, like, again, this is going to be such a short game. But if for some reason the player gets this far, you know, for some reason doesn't play the game for months, comes back and goes, oh, what am I doing again? I could make it as well that on the key item, the Earth Gem, it also says the Earth Temple is to the west. So use grant access to the Earth Temple, the Earth Temple is to the west. So, you know, always be thinking about these things. You know, is there, you know, what are the little things that I can do that aren't as obvious, necessarily as obvious as buckets of yellow paint, but, you know, what are little things that I can do to help the player? We've got our full party. So I think I want to make it as well that, well, because everyone starts off with their equipment. Yeah, no, I'll make everyone start off with their equipment. That's fine. Or I could make it that they all have no equipment, and there's a section where they need to visit all the shops, and they're given enough. I give the player enough money to buy all the beginning equipment that they need. And so we could make it as well that, which would be annoying, but as an extra step. So we gather our party, we go back to the king. The king says, you know how dangerous this is? You're not even equipped with anything. And then, you know, the knight can say, well, I'm broke. And he goes, that's fine. I'll give you the money you need to buy some equipment. Please go and get some equipment. And then we'll go to different stores. We'll buy everything that we need. And then you go back and then he gives you the earth gem. Why don't we do that? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. So, question is, how do we determine that the player is fully equipped? We could how could we do it? Could we do it? I could make it a variable. You can check gear and conditionals. You can. You can. Gonna be a bunch. Yeah, that would be really annoying. I could make it, but then again, the player has agency, because I could make it that the gold you're given, like if you buy the exact amount of equipment that you need for each party member, you'll have 0 gold. So I could make it that it checks if you have 0 gold, but then if the player doesn't buy everything, or if they decide to buy a whole bunch of potions instead, and they still have like 10 gold, that wouldn't work. Great tutorial for nested ifs opportunity. That's true. That's such a long... Well, like they would at least need to buy a weapon for all of them. So we won't need to do full nesteds, but let's this treasure. You're not even, you don't have any equipment. You don't even have any equipment. Take this then and make sure you each have a weapon. And we're going to do received. How much is the beginning equipment going to be? Swords are not swords. Well, let's just, you can just be really generous. So received 5,000 G. polite. Thank you. Oh, okay. We don't have to. Well, do we want to do the check? Because we could just make it that he doesn't actually check or care if you get the equipment or not. Could just do a gift voucher. Yeah. And then if the gift voucher's gone from your inventory, then that means you've used it. That's actually not. That's a pretty good idea, actually, Trailer. You'd be like, here, use this. Use these free weapon tokens or something. That would be funny, but that's okay. We'll what do we want to do? Okay, so he's given us 5,000 gold, so we need to make sure that that actually happens. Change gold, increase by 5,000. I give you 5,000 gold, and and what are we doing? We're doing some if and statements, aren't we? Be else. Initial branch if. Oh, this is. Ugh. All right. If knight has booger, else branch. Okay. Cool. In the else branch, we put this bit of dialogue. But we also have to make it so that every time we talk to the king, we're not saying the same thing again. Ah. Let me wrap my head around this. Okay. All right. We've got if the knight has booger equipped, then we want to check again if the rogue has the dagger equipped. Then within that, we want to check if the rogue has no, not if the mage has the staff equipped, and again if the cleric has the mace. Okay, so it's gonna go when we talk to the king, he's gonna check. He's gonna check, does the knight have this equipped? And it'll say yes, and then it will go and check, does the rogue have this equipped? Yes. Does the mage have the staff equipped? Yes. Does the cleric have the mace equipped? Yes. Then if we have all of those boxes ticked, he says, take this gem, it will grant you access to the Earth Temple. Now you have weapons. Now you stand a chance. Take this gem, it will grant you access to the Earth Temple. You receive the Earth Gem. Self switch on, and we move over to here. Now, the problem that I have is that every time we talk to the king and we haven't resolved this issue of getting this equipment, we are going to go through this dialogue every time, and the player is going to be given another 5,000 gold. So if I left this as it was, there would be an infinite money glitch. Right? which could be fun, could be exploitable, because we could trust that most players will not think twice about talking to the king again, and they will just leave, go get the weapons, come back, and things will progress as they should. But there will always be players that don't just do that. So I need to account for this. Do I put in... I always use self switches for conditions within here. I never use it within within actual events themselves. Because if I said let's turn self switch B on, and then in here do else conditional branch if self switch B is on, um and then he'll say make sure you each have a weapon. This is kind of getting, this is things can get complicated very quickly with your events, right? I feel like the way I've set this up is very messy. Probably not the best way to do it. But spaghetti code is some, if that's all you can do, and if your game still works at the end of the day, then that's fine. But if you're particular and need it all laid out in a very special way, then do what you need to do to make that happen. Cool. So let's see if this is actually going to work the way I wanted it to. I forgot to make another save. I should make another save before we go into the castle. Okay. Save. You have... Oh. You have weapons. Now you stand a chance. What? Oh. I forgot to unequip everyone. Dang it. And now I have to... Anyway. We'll have to start the game from the beginning because my save will have the wrong thing. So let's delete. Can I delete? No. Go none. 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 Okay, so we've got 5,000 gold. We've got 5,000 gold. Uh, 5,000 divided by... They have 4 by 3, 12. Okay. So if I make each item cost 400 gold, that'll roughly be about 500. So 400, 400, 400, 400, armor, 400, 400, 400, 400. Or, we could mix it up a little. We could make this 300 as it was before and change this to 500. Cool. Okay. And what about these items? They're cheap. That's fine. Cool. Cool. So, all right. Let's see how this works. So we need to start from the beginning. I want to save. Um, Right, we're gonna go talk to the king. Talk to the king. Yada yada yada. Thank you. Okay. Make another save. Put a plan. Okay. Alright. Let's see the king. Okay, so when we talk to the king, he should go through the spiel. I'm back. Here's my party. You'd like the treasure now, please? What he said. I don't think it works like that, you guys. I hope you understand how dangerous this is. Hundreds have fallen attempting to claim this treasure. You don't even have any equipment. I'm broke. Take this then and make sure you each have a weapon. 5,000 gold. Thank you. Okay, so now we have 5,000 gold. And when we talk to him, he shouldn't start that cutscene again, right? He should, yeah. Make sure you each have a weapon. Oh! What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? If... Ah! No, I did this wrong. Okay, I need this to be an if else. And I need to drag and drop this in here. Yeah. Sorry, so my bad. So if the switch is on, say this, else do this. And so the order that this goes in, right, is first the king will check, do I have this stuff equipped? If to any of these the answer is no, we jump over here to this else section, and then again the king will check, is my self switch B on? If it is not, else jump to this. And so when we first talk to the king, it should jump straight to this, because it does all those checks in an instant, and it determines that this is what we need to do first. Cool. So it's very important to always test what you're doing. Okay. Back, here's my party, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. 5,000 gold. Okay, now when we talk, make sure you have each have a weapon, and that's all he says. Make sure you each have a weapon. I keep saying that. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Alright. Welcome to my awesome armor shop. What can I help you with? Now, this could potentially be a way to soft lock the player out of the game, right? Because if for some reason they spend their money incorrectly and only buy like armor like spend all their money on potions, then they'll be soft locked out of the game. So this is not good. This is not good. So maybe we do actually go yeah, yeah, back to the gift card. Yeah. The royal credit card, right? Yeah. See, and that's the thing. We could skip all of this entirely and just you know, like the whole point of this is to give the player the opportunity to just go to the shops. So look, this was just a good way to look at nested conditionals, right? But we'll change it. We'll change it so that it's just he gives you the money, waste the money, and give you, then go out and fight with your fist. The king, probably. Yeah. Yeah. You didn't want to buy weapons? Fine. Try to slap those monsters to death. Good luck. So what do we want to do here? We want to have this dialogue. Let's cut and paste it. Let's drop it down here. And then we want to go straight into this. Right? And we can get rid of all of the rest of this. Okay, I'm back. Here's my party. Treasure, please. You don't even have any equipment. I'm broke. Take this, then, and make sure you each have a weapon. 5,000 gold. Thank you. Take this gem. It will grant you access to the Earth Temple. You receive the Earth Gem. Thank you. You can find the Earth Temple to the west. And that's it. So it's up to the player whether they spend that money properly. Bro, 5,000 gold off the bat? That's crazy. Let's get on a ship and leave, man. It's retirement money. So the way, like, the menus are set up, like the default menus within the game, like you can see how, like, archaic and tedious this is to equip each party member, right? Like you've got to go in and out, in and out, in and out. So yeah, getting plugins that update the menus and stuff is definitely something you should consider. You know, unless you're going for that old school charm. But yeah. So look, we've got our weapons. Let's go buy our armor as well. We've got 200 gold, which would be enough for potions, which is 1 potion for each. Look at that. We're fully geared and ready to go. Buy some items. Beautiful. There we go. Oh, let's go to the inn. Do we need money for that? Ah, I also said I was gonna do more NPCs today. I'll do them tomorrow. I should be streaming tomorrow. Nice, nice, nice. And out we go, and then we want to head into the Earth Temple. So I think maybe that's a good place to stop. I really would have thought we would have got a lot further, but yeah. So next we'll look at creating the Earth Temple maps, and we'll just make it that you can travel through some maps really quickly to get to the end, and then there we'll have, you know, the boss that you won't actually be able to fight yet, but there'll be like a placeholder boss event there. Also, Coco, if you're there, I keep missing your stream streak notifications. I don't think I have my alerts set up for stream streaks. Is that something I should do? Yeah, congrats on the 5 stream streak. Yeah, so we'll make it that you can travel through the temple. You know, there'll be no enemies. You can travel through the temple, get to the end, kill the boss, and then give up one of your party members, and then we need to return to the hub town to talk to the king about yeah, about getting the water temple, the water gem to get into the water temple. So yeah, we'll look at getting into that tomorrow, and yeah, doing some NPCs. But I think that was good. We made some pretty good progress today. Pretty good. Pretty good. Ah, cool, these guys. Well, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for everyone that has been in the stream, whether you were in the chat or just lurking. I really appreciate your presence. Yeah, it's really nice having people along to help me on this RPG journey. And hopefully you guys are learning something as well. But otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Monday, doing the Itch.io Gems horror stream. And Tuesday and Thursdays are going to be the normal simple RPG days. Yeah, have a good night. Have a great week. Okay, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye. Sorry, my PSP is saying my games are gone for some reason. Are you watching Twitch on your PSP? What's this is like a performative male, but like for other males? No, I'm playing Persona 3. I'm not being performative, lol. He says he's playing Persona 3. That's even more performative. That's oh, what's it? Oh, what game are you playing? You've probably never heard of it. It's a little game called Persona 3. It's okay, Coco. You don't have to try that hard. I think you're cool already, okay? You don't have to try with me, all right? Although it doesn't really mean anything, me saying I think you're cool, but you're cool, Coco. You can clip this clip of me saying I think you're cool. You can send it to all your friends.